Hey beautiful gut feelers, today we're going to talk about fermented foods. The 3 most common mistakes when it comes to fermenting food, and in the bonus content I'm going to share with you something that is even better than fermented foods. Yes, there is. If you're new to this channel, my name is Peggy from peggyschirmer.com. Warmly welcome you here to Gut Feelings channel to support you to become your own health advocate. So you have the freedom and the independence you need. You don't need to buy more supplements and go to more doctors. You know what's happening inside your body and you know which actions to take because you trust your gut feelings. In this video, we're going to talk about fermented foods. Structure this video in 2 parts. Number 1, why are they awesome? And we talk about bacteria and gut bacteria in general. And in the second part, as I promised, we talk about the 3 most common mistakes when it comes to fermented foods for your gut health and for your liver. So I've got a question for you. When you hear bacteria, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Do you feel like, yay, bacteria? Or do you feel like, bacteria? Like, I want to clean my hands. Where's the disinfectant? The image we get from Western medicine, from media, is bacteria. Here's the thing. You can never ever win against bacteria. And you don't want to, because bacteria is all over you. It's inside you. 80% of our immune system is in our gut. So you want to make sure that those guys down there, they're the good ones. They're going to help you stay healthy. What does Western medicine do if you have a pathogenic bacteria? You might have heard of it. It's called antibiotics against life. Well, not a good idea. And it doesn't work. It doesn't help the root cause. The only thing it does is it kills off this much of the bad guys, usually not the ones that you want to kill, and it kills this much of the good guys. Meaning you have an even worse balance from bad gut bacteria to good gut bacteria. Yes, antibiotics might have saved lives, but they also killed a lot. We have resistant strains of strep, of all kinds of bacteria that we can't handle anymore, and they are man-made. They wouldn't exist if we wouldn't have antibiotics. And now we are in a situation that we have those superbugs that we don't have an answer to. Well, actually the only answer against pathogenic bacteria is not to try to kill them yourself or to go with a medication. It's supporting the good guys. Don't focus on where you don't want to go, focus on where you're going. Same applies to bacteria. Now, because here's the secret. Good gut bacteria and bad gut bacteria, they hate each other. So meaning whoever of those 2 has more power is going to fight the other one. Think of those cravings for sugar, for unhealthy foods. This is because the bad guys have taken over. They're going to signal what you want. We think often, oh, it's willpower. No, it's your microbiome. It's what happens inside of your gut, which triggers if you have appetite, if you crave for unhealthy food, or if you crave for celery juice. Beneficial microorganisms, they rule your life. If you have problems with depression, with anxiety, often people have that with candida overgrowth or as a detox symptom. The key is to increase your beneficial bacteria, because they produce something called serotonin. It's a neurotransmitter. It's also called the happy hormone. So if you want to feel better, take care of your microbiome. Also, not every yeast is bad. There are yeasts that actually fight off candida. Beneficial microorganisms balance your blood sugar levels so you don't have those spikes, and they regulate your appetite. So if you're having these craving attacks, it's usually a sign that your microbiome is out of balance. Look into that. Also, 80%, guys, 80% of your immune system sits, guess where? In your gut. So if you struggle with autoimmune diseases, focus on your gut health first. Now, fermented foods, guys, are a great way to get massive amounts of healthy gut bacteria. This is sauerkraut, and what this is cultivated from is lactic acid bacteria. Different strains of lactobacillus. Lactobacillus grows on all fresh vegetables. And that's what we're going to do with fermenting. We are going to amp up the amount of lactobacillus in there and get down the bad guys, the bad bacteria. How will we do that? There are 2 stages. You can have either an aerobic environment, which is with air, or an anaerobic environment, which is without air. Lactobacillus thrives in anaerobic environment. This is why when you ferment your vegetables yourself, you want to make sure that the food does not touch the air. It's completely submerged in the liquid to make sure you don't get mold or you get spoilage. Yeah, the black stuff or the colored stuff on top, or the smell that it smells bad, that's a sign that there was an aerobic environment and you actually grew the wrong kinds of microorganisms. Salt also helps the preservation and to suppress any bad bacteria. Whatever you buy or whatever you make yourself is either sea salt or a high quality salt like Himalayan salt. You don't want to use those table salt, which is super counterproductive for your overall health. Now guys, have I juiced you up for fermentation enough? Here's the thing. If you want me, I make you a video, if you like, about how I'm fermenting foods. If you want that, let me know in the comments below. I'm counting. If I get 20 of you who say, yes, do that video, I'm gonna make an extra video for you. Now let's jump to part number 2, talk about the 3 most common mistakes that people make when it comes to fermented foods. And you're either gonna love me after that or you're gonna hate me and I'm gonna get all these thumbs down. I risk it, I give it my best shot. Mistake number 1, that's an easy one. If you go and you buy fermented foods and you go to your grocery store and you go, oh, sauerkraut next to the tomato sauce. What's wrong with this picture? Whatever is not in the refrigerator section is pasteurized. It's cooked, it's heated. Bye-bye enzymes, bye-bye good gut bacteria. You need a raw, unpasteurized product. Back to the refrigerator section in your organic whole food store, I hope. Those ones are usually also labeled raw, unpasteurized. This is the stuff you want to get. So mistake number 1, you don't get them refrigerated and it's not raw. Mistake number 2, now this is gonna be the time for, I'm risking some thumbs down, any foods that contain alcohol. Any fermented foods, also any foods in general, but especially fermented foods, if they contain alcohol, bye-bye. If there's alcohol present, even if it's just a tiny bit, the liver stops detoxing. It's a signal for your body. Alcohol is toxic. It's a neurotoxin. The body gets in stress, it gets into alarm mode. It's damaging for your gut bacteria. Not this drop of alcohol, guys. 0. That means fermented foods that are fermented from sweet foods. That can be starches, complex starches, potatoes, for example, or grains. Or you got fruits, or you got table sugar, worse than ever. It means bye-bye kombucha, it means bye-bye water kefir, carbonated soda, no. Also any kinds of salsa, fermented salsa, because it's made of tomatoes. Tomatoes are a fruit and they do contain some sugar. There is like a little bit a gray area when it comes to cucumbers. They are also botanically a fruit, but they contain like super tiny amounts of sugar. They are alright. If you want to go with the gut feelings mode, it's allowed. So mistake number 1, you eat fermented foods, but they do contain alcohol. Are you freaked out yet? Do you hate me? Well, wait till number 3, because now it's going to get crazy. Now you might have heard of, oh, yogurt is so great and all this kefir and stuff. Mistake number 3 is your fermented product is not plant-based. It contains dairy. Why? I'll link you a video. Dairy is one of the main trigger foods which feed pathogenic bacteria, which feed viruses like strep, like Epstein-Barr. Bye-bye dairy. Even if you got the milk from your own cow, or it's a goat or a sheep or whatever, it's organic, it doesn't matter. It's still milk from another animal. Doesn't help. Summarizing the 3 mistakes for you, number 1 is it's not raw, it's pasteurized, bye-bye. It contains alcohol, no, and it's a dairy product. Those 3 to avoid. Now, question of the day for you, what is your experience with fermented foods, with lacto-fermented foods? Let us know, share your experience in the comments below. I'm curious to hear from you and to engage in the conversation. And now we come to the bonus content. What is even better than fermented foods? It's not what you think. It's not about celery juice, I promise. Every fresh vegetable, like this little wilty kale here, or this beautiful apple, if they are organic, unwashed, what's around them is a film of beneficial microorganisms. They're all around here, you can't see them, but it's just a beautiful apple anyway. I have another one here. And those bacteria, guys, this is another category. This is lactic acid bacteria, soil-borne bacteria. This, guys, is what medical medium also calls elevated biotics. If you want to know more, I link his book where he talks about it below. Elevated biotics. Why are they so powerful? Guess what? They are exposed to wind, to heat, to cold, to rain, to everything. They need to survive. This is a living food. They are all around them. Those bacteria are 1,000 times stronger than anything you find in a fermented product. Good news is these guys are still helpful, especially if you have an impaired digestion, if you have low stomach acid. They are not going to get killed because usually what stomach acid does, it's a bacterial barrier. Yeah, so it kills a lot of the bad bacteria, but also like weak fermented food bacteria like lactobacillus. Those guys, however, they are not going to get killed by any stomach acid. They actually arrive in your small intestine, in the end part, which is called the ileum, where the vitamin B12 production happens from those bacteria, and also it's like a base camp of good gut bacteria. You know, you can do fermented foods and get occasionally an organic apple from a farmer that you know, where you can just eat it straight away. Now, if you live in New York City and you tell me like, what the I don't know, I don't have an apple tree just in front of my apartment where I can just eat like that, I've got you covered as well. Hi, New York City. Sprouts, guys. Sprouts. Look at those microgreens. Lovely, huh? Those healthy, elevated biotics, they are in there as well. You can make them yourself just at the countertop of your kitchen, in front of the window. It takes 1 or 2 days. This is alfalfa. I also recommend broccoli sprouts. Link you everything below. There's also a great sprouter, which I love. Looks nice, easy, works perfect. So there are 2 ways to improve your gut health. You can do fermented foods, which are great in the beginning of your journey, and then also as a maintenance, and of course the elevated biotics, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, question of the day: what is your experience with fermented foods? And if you want me to make this video, definitely let me know. Thanks for watching. I wish you a beautiful day.